So the second season of Arknights anime has, I would say, finished up recently, but it's finished up and I can now talk about it in its entirety. The second season of the anime covers 3 chapters from Arknights' main story, and it is a total of 8 episodes long. Episodes 1 and 2 cover chapter 4, episodes 3 and 4 cover chapter 5, and episodes 5, 6, 7, and 8 cover chapter 6. You should definitely give this anime a chance. It's not perfect, it's not redefining the medium, but it's doing an alright job. I might even say by the end of it, it's doing a pretty good to great job. But before I get into any positivity, I do want to get the negativity out the way. They did chapter 5 dirty. Mephisto, he got done so dirty. I would say episodes 3 and 4 are the worst 2 episodes that the Arknights anime currently has. They just felt flat. The animation felt flat, the story felt flat, the characters felt flat. It just did not do it for me personally. Now, I would not say chapter 5 is my favorite of the Arknights main theme stories, but I don't think it deserved to have such a poor anime adaptation. The scene where Chen draws her sword is one of my favorite in the game, but the anime, for whatever reason, they couldn't stick the landing. When Chen was drawing her sword, I thought they were cooking, but it fell flat on its face when it actually hit the enemies. So if you're here for chapter 5 greatness, you're gonna have to find a different anime to watch, and by that I mean you're just gonna have to read the main story. Other than that, I felt that the anime was pretty good overall. They did FrostNova a lot of justice. And before I get into the FrostNova greatness, I'll just cover, because this is a review, a general idea of the anime. The first 2 episodes obviously cover chapter 4, and following on from the previous season, it is the Doctor dealing with Reunion's attack on Lungmen. The first 2 episodes take place in the slums of Lungmen, where the Doctor, as well as a team of Rhodes Island operators, including our beloved sad cat Jessica, face off against Mephisto and then FrostNova and the Yeti Squad. This then leads into chapter 5, episodes 3 and 4, which covers the battle between Mephisto and Chen. I can't say I was the biggest fan of these 2 episodes, but we did get some good Hoshi character in the 3rd episode. But then the last 4 episodes are really where this anime shines. It covers the events of chapter 6, and it does a bang up good job at it. It does rearrange some of the scenes from the game, but I do think that helps the overall pacing. Episode 5 provides somewhat of a redemption on Mephisto and Faust's story. Obviously this happened in the game as well, but placing it right after those 2 fairly mediocre episodes does a good job of palate cleansing them. Mephisto and Faust obviously get their characterization in this episode, and they do a bang up good job. The ending scene, which leads up to Faust's death, was amazing, and one of my friends who did not watch the anime was in the room for the end of episode 5, and she was very shocked by it, which is probably a good sign that even out of context you're getting a lot of emotional reaction from this episode. Episode 6 gives a lot of focus to Greythroat's characterization, as well as Blaze's. This is a pretty good episode, but definitely, in my opinion, the weakest of the last 4 episodes, covering chapter 6. Episode 7 covers the deaths of the Yeti Squad members, and it was amazing. I really enjoyed everything that had to do with how these characters died. You got to see a lot of characterization that reflects on FrostNova, and Blaze's reaction was really well animated. Just how they drew her face, it just conveyed so much emotion. And finally, the last episode of the anime, episode 8, covers the battle between Rhodes Island and FrostNova, and it was fantastic. I have a theory that they just cut the budget for chapter 5 so they could focus on FrostNova. And personally, I'm very happy with that, because the final fight between Rhodes Island and FrostNova was amazing. The animation, the music is fantastic. They even blended the dialogue and action far better than they did in previous episodes. Even in season 1, this was an issue I had, but the FrostNova fight managed to land that balance, and I hope they carry that forward into a potential season 3, or, as there has been some rumor about it, potential anime movies. That's the overall story of this season. In the future, I want to cover each main theme in detail, so I don't want to focus on it too much for this video, as it is a review of the anime in general. Characters were pretty good overall. We got decent characterization for all of our Rhodes Island operators, with of course my standouts being Blaze and Greythroat, but those two were the standout characters from the main theme anyway for me. Calcit had a fantastic scene in episode 6 where she got to absolutely dominate Crownslayer, and it had a really good animation and was at the time my favourite fight that Arknights had done, mainly because they just cut all dialogue and just let the action roll without interrupting it with a minute long bit of dialogue, which I know it took restraint on Calcit's part to manage that. Mephisto and Faust have really good characterization starting in episode 5. Mephisto and Faust's character isn't conveyed very well in the 2 episodes where they are the main focus, but in episodes 1 and 2 we do get to get Mephisto's character fairly well established, and even though episodes 3 and 4 should have done a better job walking up to Mephisto's breakdown, I still believe that they portrayed it very well. Faust is of course a GOAT, and I shall accept no slander on this man's name, but of course the standout antagonist is FrostNova. FrostNova was amazing this entire season, and it was really tragic seeing her go another time. They absolutely nailed her death scene in my opinion, and the candy scene was really well adapted. That, more than the death scene, was the one I was worried about being adapted the most, but they did a fantastic job. And I would personally say, if you are purely watching the anime to see the death of FrostNova that has been kind of hyped up by the Arknights community, the anime is a good place to see it. And now, the last question that you have to answer for the anime. Is it better than the game? I won't say it's the worst adaptation, but you gotta sit down and read the game. And this isn't just because episodes 3 and 4 are adapted poorly. The game ties it together better. Even without taking that into consideration, I wouldn't say the anime is a replacement for the game just yet. If they get a fantastic adaptation down the line, maybe it will be. But right now, there's still a lot of work to be done on perfecting that anime adaptation for Arknights. Is season 2 better than season 1? I would say yes. I would say it's definitely an improvement. Obviously, being a second season, it does require the first season, and if it took a step backwards in quality, that would be fairly bad. But the step up in quality from the initial chapters of Arknights to the chapters that they are now adapting is bigger than the step up in the anime quality. And the anime, even though it doesn't reach the same heights to me as the game, I still think it's worth watching, even if it's just to refresh your brain on what happened in that early Arknights story. And that's about it for me. Be good people, and I will talk to you next time.